What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about how Conor McGregor apparently got into an altercation with somebody that was trying to take his picture while he was coming out of the club, I guess. So let's see what they have to say about this.
Do you have a problem with McGregor's actions?
Well, sure. I think Conor knows he can't do that. You can't take someone's property and destroy it, and I wouldn't advocate violence. I will say this. As a society, I think right now, we're figuring out how to negotiate new technology and the impact it's having on existing freedoms, right? So what do I mean by that? Do you have a right to walk in a public place? Are you entitled to any kind of privacy at all? Like, we talk about kind of the government as big brother or one of these social media companies, Facebook or something, and we're being monitored constantly and people don't like that, gross. Right? And as a public figure, I understand that if you're in public, sometimes the line is drawn at families. Don't take a picture of the person's family. But if they're a public figure, they're really not entitled to privacy in public. But all these ideas were really formed before everyone on Earth had not only a camera, but a video recorder in their pocket.
So with what Max said, here's just a little side note. So I heard from a couple of different sources, you guys can check this out, that on any given day, anybody that walks outside or just at any time throughout the day, you recorded, I think, 45 times by 45 different cameras. Whether you're walking down the street, whether you're driving by in your car, there's a camera that gets your picture about 45 times throughout a day. So just think about that. 45 times throughout the day, you're going to be on different cameras throughout where you go. Even if you could be, it could be a business across the street, a half mile away that get you on camera crossing the street. That's crazy. That does seem like an invasion of privacy, but at the same time, it could help you if you get into trouble and you need an alibi, or that can catch you doing something you shouldn't be doing. But let's keep going.
Everyone on Earth. So, Stephen A., you've experienced this, I've experienced this, and Conor McGregor just experienced it coming out of the club at 5 in the morning, right? Like, I really don't want to be recorded right now. And is he not so while I wouldn't advocate, obviously, this is a kind of form of violence, so it didn't hurt the person who destroyed their property. He should be in trouble for it. He apologized for it. But I understand why he's saying, I don't want to be video recorded or otherwise recorded at this moment by you. Please don't do that.
Well, Max, what goes along with being a superstar, what goes along with having a lot of money, what goes along with being a public figure is people are going to want to take your pictures. People are going to be all in your business at any point in time. So people talk about the glory of being a fighter, the glory of being an athlete, the glory of being a superstar at anything, a movie star, whatever, getting the money, having a big house, having a big car, being famous, everything that goes along with that. But what they don't want to talk about is the downside. And this is the downside of being famous and rich. People are going to want to take your pictures when you don't want them to. People are going to bother you. People are going to do what they did to Russell Westbrook and push his buttons to make him react to you so that they can get a payday, so that they can sue you. This is the downside of being famous. Now, you got to take the good with the bad, or vice versa. But let's keep going.
If the person does that, I wouldn't be shocked, were I that person, if I found my recording device confiscated and destroyed. I mean, that's the way people react to that on a kind of human level.
You're right, but it's completely and utterly irrelevant. You don't get to do that if you're Conor McGregor. Simple as that. You don't have a right to confiscate some man's phone and slam it. Now, is this over?
Exactly, Stephen A. That is the direct point. You can't take someone else's property and slam it down. You can't take someone else's property and break it because they're doing something that you don't like. That's not physically affecting you. You can't do that. Now, do I understand why Conor did it? Of course. Do I condone it? No, but I understand. I completely understand. And the guy knew what he was doing too, filming Conor. Especially when Conor's probably like, no pictures, no pictures. The guy knew what he was doing. Trying to push his buttons. So let's keep going.
Blown in terms of cameras being outside like it's paparazzi because he beat up somebody at a club or something. Of course it is. He grabbed the man's phone and he slammed it down. The man probably called the police because why should I have to pay for my new phone? You should pay for it, and I'm not going to be able to get you to do that unless I file charges for you. You're Conor McGregor. It's disgusting sometimes being in the public eye because people don't know how to act. It doesn't make any sense. Half the time you're just looking at people like, what the hell? Do you not have a life? My God, get it together. A picture, is it always necessary?
I don't have to have a life in order to want to take a picture of somebody that I might like, somebody that I might admire, somebody I might think is, I look up to them because they're a superstar. Now, if I saw Michael Jordan somewhere, or Kobe, or James Harden, or Westbrook, or whoever, if I saw them, I want to take a picture. That's what goes along with being famous. Now, do they like it? Probably not. But this is part of being famous, rich and famous. So let's keep going.
To film me, to videotape me, to give me pictures. I have this problem and I'm not Conor McGregor. Having said all of that, here's my thing that I peel from this, Max. Conor McGregor is really getting on my damn nerves. I'm really getting sick and tired of him being in the news for something other.
Now, Stephen A. said that like he's his daddy or something. Like, one more time, and I'm going to get the belt. You get in one more time, get in trouble one more time, Conor, and I'm going to have to get the belt. I'm going to have to get that extension cord. I'm going to have to get that coat hanger straightened out and laid it across thy back. Let's keep going.
And winning in the UFC octagon ring. That's what I'm getting tired of. The last time it's been years since we've seen Conor McGregor actually win a fight. We saw him in the news for throwing a dolly at the bus. We saw him in the news for this. We see him at the press conference, but when he had to step into the octagon against Nurmagomedov, we saw what happened to him. That was a butt whipping now. We saw him in the ring trying to box against Floyd Mayweather. We saw what happened to him there. Last time we saw Conor McGregor win to be this tough guy. And I love Conor McGregor. I love his mouth. I love how he tries to back it up. I love the fact that he's a showman. He's worth the money. He's worth the price of admission. I'm not trying to disrespect him. I'm simply trying to remind Conor McGregor, what made you those millions? It wasn't just your mouth. It wasn't just your attitude. It was the fact that you backed it up. And the fact is, he's not backing it up these days. How many years, Max, since that event at Madison Square Garden? Who did he knock out? Alvarez in the second round with a 4-punch combination?
I have to look at the date.
I think it was Alvarez, okay? I think it was November of 15.
2 years ago, or more.
It might have been more because he fought Mayweather.
Listen, if you want to stay undefeated, don't box Floyd Mayweather, especially if you're not a boxer.
That's right.
And stay out of the octagon with Nurmagomedov. I told you he was coming. Nurmagomedov was coming.
What a monster. What a monster.
Look, yes, the interest in Conor McGregor is rooted in his success in the octagon. Yes. I think his orbit has kind of escaped
the octagon. He backs up what...
Well, he does back it up majority of the time, but at this point, he doesn't care. He's made $100 million alone just with fighting Floyd Mayweather and whatever money he made fighting in the octagon. So at this point, he probably doesn't really care. He doesn't really care about anything. He's a made man with that money. So he's probably walking around here, doesn't give a rat's whatever about what's going to happen because he's rich. He doesn't have to worry about staying in line and doing everything he's supposed to do so he can continue getting fights, to continue getting paydays. He's got his money. He doesn't care. Let's keep going.
Because he's now a major celebrity. He has backed what he said. And what you brought up is much more exciting, but I want to bring it back to the idea of these phones and stuff just for a second.
Laws.
You know, originally, when cars started to become mass-produced, there was... all the onus was on the drivers of the cars, right? Like, you better never hit a pedestrian. If 1,000 pedestrians are walking by, eventually the car industry started pumping money into this idea of jaywalking and started changing laws, basically, pumping money into our politics so that the laws would change, so that actually pedestrians had to watch it too. Everyone kind of had a right of way at different times. In other words, new technology comes, the world changes, and then the way things were set up gets changed a little bit to accommodate the new technology, and we have to negotiate what we consider our own personal freedom with this new technology, how it has an impact on it. And I am saying what this brings to mind for me is I don't know that we can just persist as a society with this idea that anyone can record anyone they want in a public space
the internet
at any time. Yes,
it's not even like you're just showing your friends.
Even in a public space, I think people are entitled to a certain degree of privacy.
I totally agree.
Yeah, like how about when you're in a bathing suit at a pool?
Now, this is very true, and the video is almost over. But with that said, you know, you wanted all this. You guys wanted all this. Conor wanted to be famous. I bet you he was, when he was a little kid or when he first started fighting, he dreamed about, I want everybody to take my picture. I want everybody to know who I am. I want interviews. I want the paparazzi. I want all that. I want all of that. But now you have it. Now you have it. Let's keep going.
We agree, but we don't have it, and I don't see that changing in a public setting.
And Conor got to win a